Hello, Pastor Michael. In our meeting at Al-Anon today, we are going to go on with the next topical chapter of family recovery, Growing Beyond Addiction, entitled Building Personal Strengths, and beginning on page 39 of our book, which is Family Recovery, Growing Beyond Addiction by Miller and Gorski. Before the family unit can recover, individual family members have to recover. They must develop personal strengths before they are able to motivate the alcoholic to seek treatment or to facilitate recovery within the family unit. There should be a period of time when each member of the family is free to focus on him or herself and do what is necessary for personal recovery within themselves. The alcoholic might receive help and treatment, or in AA, children can receive help in group therapy or Al-Anon. The spouse of the alcoholic may go to Al-Anon, counseling, or an educational program. But here today, we will explore some of the tools for building your own strengths. Problem solving. During the period of time that you've been immobilized by this alcoholism crisis, you've lost the ability to be a problem solver. Anxiety and stress have taken over, and they have filled your space. Relearning or first learning some problem-solving skills will give you the confidence and courage to handle problems in your life as you meet them. Here's a standard problem-solving process. Hopefully you will find this helpful. I am going to read 7 steps that are outlined here by Miller and Gorski. First, step 1 is problem identification. You have to identify the problem that is causing the difficulty. What is this problem? When you think that you have defined the problem, go ahead and write it down. Journaling is one of the best things that we can do to keep things organized, because we'll always have that piece of paper or that computer document to return to where we say, we don't have to reinvent this. We've already gone here and we've done this. We're ready to go on to step number 2. Problem clarification. Is this a real problem, or is it just the product of a more fundamental, foundational problem? Something to think about. Step number 3, identify the alternatives. What are your options now that you've defined this problem? List your options. Write them down. If at first they sounded good, but then you study them and you just don't think that they're realistic, go ahead. My suggestion is don't erase them, but rather put a line through them. That way you'll know historically you've already been there and considered that. Once you've listed these, think about solutions. And I say plural solutions, not just one. You know, there are some problems that may only have one solution. But the difficulty that we face when we look at a problem and we only come up with one solution is we kind of limit our options, especially where this might be a problem that we can address from different angles with different solutions. So take the time now, once you've identified the problem, to come up with all the possible realistic and even fantasy solutions that enter your mind at this time. Let's consider everything. So you'll have an opportunity to come back to your list and choose what is the best, most practical solution to start with. And let's face it, if that one doesn't fly and it doesn't work for you when you've tried to implement it, you'll have some other solutions that you've already thought through that you might be able to go on to. A plan B when plan A falls down. Now we're ready to go on to Miller and Gorski's suggested step 4 in building our personal strengths by problem solving. We project the consequences now of each alternative. So we're still sitting here in our study, we're meditating, it's quiet, we have time to think about this, we're writing things down, and we say, okay, we think we've got a possible solution to a problem that we've identified, but what do we think might be the consequence right now? A little bit like we're massaging our crystal ball and looking into the future and trying to predict, well, what will come? So, what's the best possible thing? That's great. We've solved our problem. But then, what might the worst possible result come of the consequences of implementing our solution? So we've bracketed things. We've got our best possible consequence, our worst possible consequence, and somewhere in between these brackets, most likely, probability statistically wise, we're going to find where we land for our real result. Now that we've done all this legwork and foundational planning, it's time for decision making, which is Miller and Gorski's step 5. So now you say, I think I'm going to go with this, because this one seems to have the best fit. We're ready to go on to step 6, which is action. Once you've decided on a solution, how are you going to implement it? What am I going to do about it? You've got to develop that roadmap to implementing your plan. Surely, if it's significant, you're going to have short range and long range possibilities to consider here. But just remember, don't ever take on more than you can handle at one time. Take it in small steps, little bits and pieces, one step at a time. And then we come to the concluding step, our last one, or the 7th one, which is follow up. In the engineering realm, we teach students and youngsters developing life skills to ask, imagine, plan, create, and improve. What is that telling us? That we're not done the first time around. We're going to come back and we're going to have an opportunity to go forward one more time with improvement because we've learned. This is fantastic. I appreciate the opportunity to explore this with you, and I look forward to exploring more in the future. If you have the time and you're interested, what I'm looking for is your participation by emailing minister@spiritofpeace.us. And in the subject line, put Al-Anon. In the body of the letter, write whatever it is that's on your mind, whether you're referring to this topic or anything else that you find interesting and is the reason for your writing. We look forward to hearing from you. Remember, everyone is welcome at our table here in Al-Anon. In the meantime, you are all in my prayers, as I know we are in one another's. May God bless you, and may your plans be successful and come to fruition. Amen.